Sarisa, the assistant of the ice faction, approaches Elfaria, who is deeply asleep and lost in her thoughts. She wakes her with a firm touch, reminding her of her responsibility as the powerful Vander Magic. Sarisa holds important papers, detailing the selected candidates for the Grand Magic Festival. Among them stands out the name of Julius Reinberg, a young man who has caused a great stir and could become Elfaria's successor. Meanwhile, on the battlefield of the festival, the competition is at its peak. Mike excitedly narrates how the groups compete for victory, with Will's group facing Julius. Julius, confident and arrogant, mocks Will, convinced that his superiority is overwhelming. However, Will is determined to confront him, demanding that Julius apologize to his teammates for his arrogant behavior. The battle intensifies when Julius unleashes a secret spell known as Ars Weiss, a legendary power created by Elfaria. This spell creates multiple ice copies of Julius himself, each capable of attacking and moving independently. Will, bewildered by his opponent's tactics, tries to track the movements of the copies but finds himself trapped in a magical barrier. Julius's power seems insurmountable. Controlling each copy perfectly, he uses the spell Hyal Explosion, which not only freezes Will but also leaves everyone present in shock. The recruiters watch in awe at Julius's magical dominance, while he, filled with confidence, announces his intention to surpass Elfaria one day and humiliate her in front of everyone. The battle is not over, but Julius has proven to be a formidable opponent, ready to take the throne of magic. Julius Reinberg, brimming with confidence, approaches the recruiters, showcasing his skill with the ice magic he learned from Albis Vina, claiming to be the next successor of Elfaria. The audience, impressed by his mastery, murmurs in admiration, convinced that no one could defeat him. However, Iris, observing from a distance, reflects on Julius's tactics. To her, it all seemed like a calculated display, a show of power to impress. Rosti comments that if Julius fails to win at that moment, he will be ridiculed. Suddenly, Will, who appeared defeated, surprises everyone by resisting Julius's attack and sarcastically thanks him for the refreshment that the ice magic provided. Furious, Julius vows to humiliate Will, but he is challenged by Will, who points out that his powerful spell, Ars Weiss, is not as perfect as it seems. Will reveals that Julius relied on his teammates to maintain control of the ice copies, and although Julius may handle Elfaria's magic temporarily, he is still far from mastering it completely. Julius's doubles begin to crumble, and confusion spreads among the onlookers. Edward realizes Will's strategy. He hid behind the attacks to surprise Julius from above, a tactic he had used before. As Mike, the event's narrator, comments in awe on Will's movements, it becomes evident that he has managed to destabilize his opponent. Finally, Elfaria, observing Julius's performance, admits that he could be her successor one day, but in her heart, she yearns for a true warrior, not just a prodigious magician. As the battle intensifies, it is clear that although Julius has impressive power, his arrogance and incomplete mastery of magic leave him vulnerable. In the midst of the tense battle, Julius, frustrated, becomes angry when Will points out that he does not master Ars Weiss. Julius attempts to freeze his opponent, but Will reveals his deep knowledge of the spell, mentioning how its temperature generates ice crystals around the true user, exposing Julius among his copies. Confused and humiliated, Julius wonders how someone like Will, who seems to have no talent, can know so much about Elfaria's secret magic. Will then explains that he and Elfaria are childhood friends, orphans who grew up together, which allowed him to study and admire her magic from a young age. Despite the revelation, Julius refuses to accept defeat. He summons more copies of himself, determined to overwhelm Will with their superior numbers. But Will, unfazed, reminds him that Elfaria, when she was just a child, used to annoy him with 10 copies, hinting that what Julius is doing is merely an echo of a spell that was never perfect. Ultimately, Julius launches his attack with multiple copies, but Will surpasses him, knocking him down before the incredulous gaze of the spectators. Mike, the event's narrator, cannot believe that Will, someone without apparent magical talent, has defeated a genius of such reputation. Just when it seems that Will win the event and take the crown, Wignall, a competitor who had remained in the shadows, appears with the crown already in his possession. Surprisingly, Wignall's squad is declared the winner of Crown Attack. Meanwhile, Elfaria, watching from afar, bitterly reflects on her past with Will. Sarisa, her assistant, reminds her that there is no magic that can change the past or erase memories, although Elfaria wishes she could erase certain moments from her childhood that now feel exposed before everyone. In the end, Will, although he lost the crown, feels satisfaction for having fulfilled his promise. But somewhere, Shounen, another competitor, swears that he will be the one to defeat Will in the future.